Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to watch the Great Debaters Contest. This is Kenya's #1 interactive debate platform. It always gets better with more informative and intellectual debates. I am your host, Chris Boru.
And I am Esperanza Kapanga. Speaking on religious matters today, the motion is religious institutions should pay taxes.
Proposing this motion, we have Chuka Girls High School.
And making the first appearance on the opposition, we have Kithunguri Mixed Day Secondary School. Proposer number 1, you have 3 minutes.
Mpeni Kaisari yaliyo yake, mpeni Mungu yale yaliyo yake Mungu. Give to the Lord what belongs to the Lord, and give to the government what belongs to the government. This is a quote directly quoted from Matthew chapter 22 from verse 15 to 27. Read it, please. Today, I'm here to passionately propose this motion. The motion at hand, that religious institutions should pay taxes. I want to say that, yes, this has to be done. It has to be done. It has to be done, simply because it is a part of our law. Under the Kenyan Constitution, according to the Income Tax Act, CAP 470, Value Added Tax 2013, it states that all religious institutions must account for all the money they receive and pay their taxes. What is the point of them receiving benefits from the government if they do not pay for them? We are all equal. We are all one under the law. That is what the law refers to us as. We are all Kenyans. So it is impossible. It cannot work where we are living in a situation in which I pay a tax and you do not. That the payment of taxes by religious institutions will help to raise the country's economy. If the religious institutions are not able to do not pay taxes, who is going to cater for this amount that is required? It is us as the Kenyan citizens. If the religious institutions pay their taxes, it will mean that this amount that is required for the country is going to be catered for. We all need to pay our taxes. Exempting the religious institutions from paying taxes, it's going to force the non-believers to advocate religion. Take an instance whereby I am a non-believer, and there is a certain religious institution that I am not part of, which does not pay their taxes. I, as a non-believer, will be overtaxed to compensate for all of the benefits that this religious institution is enjoying but not paying for. I have to suffer. I have to advocate for a religion that I am not conversant with. That is undermining my freedom of religion. It is undermining me as a citizen. It is undermining me as a Kenyan. We all need to practice our rights, and it is my right, it is my freedom to be conversant with the religion that I want to be. So you cannot force me to pay taxes for a certain religious institution which does not pay. So please, I want to tell my fellow opposers, just as I have said, pay to the government what belongs to the government. This is a very common quote, but my opponents do not seem to understand it. So I'm kindly asking them to understand it, and please join us on the other side. Thank you.
First opposer, you have 3 minutes to make a statement.
My name is Morera Kevin from Kithunguri Mixed Day Secondary School, starting to oppose the motion that says religious institutions shouldn't pay tax. First, Bungoma, Hawibaru, costing 107,000. Secondly, NYS, the first scam, 7.1 million taxpayers' money lost. The second scam, over the recent few days, almost 9 billion, 468 million lost. Now, should we continue raising tax or even tax religious institutions just to raise tax for people to put the money into their pockets, a few individuals to squander the money the way they want, and yet the citizens are struggling day and night to get the money? Taxing these religious institutions when their members receive no monetary gain would amount to double taxation. Now imagine, you are already taxed on your income as a Kenyan, and now here comes the government when you go to the church or to the mosque to seek spiritual assistance, the government comes in. You have to pay tax for your seeking spiritual assistance. Now, is this really justified? No. You just can't tax a person for the second time simply because he or she is participating in religion. The idea of not taxing religious institutions first came with a Roman emperor by the name Constantine. Indeed, he was a very great ruler. Now, according to me, this man saw that religion is much bigger than the state. And in real sense, religion is much bigger than the state. For example, take the Catholic Pope. He earns more than 3.5 billion people all over the world. But our president, Mr. Uhuru Kenyatta, His Excellency Mr. Uhuru Kenyatta, leads just around 40 million people. Therefore, these institutions are very big and independent. Therefore, the government should not tax them. Because again, taxing them would mean that the poor and the underprivileged people relying on help from these institutions will suffer greatly. This is because the money that is used to help them, they will be deprived of help because the money will otherwise go to pay taxes.
Second proposer, you have 3 minutes for cross-examination.
The Pope of the world, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, President of Kenya. The Pope rules the world. Uhuru Kenyatta is in charge of only 40 million people. And I'd like to correct my dear opposers that religious institutions don't exist to provide for the citizens. They exist to provide moral support, but the government provides for the citizens. If they don't pay the tax, where is the government going to get the money to provide for our citizens? I'd also, Clara Muthoni, Chuka girls, I'd also like to say that religious institutions are part of the Kenyan Constitution's beneficiaries. If they are beneficiaries of the constitutions, there's no way they will be exempted from paying tax, yet they're benefiting from what we, as the common and regular citizens of Kenya, are paying. The road that is built outside my church is the same road that I, as the common citizen of Kenya, is using. And someone somewhere paid for it. Who am I, as the reverend of my church, not to pay for the road? It also helps to boost the economy of Kenya, as my fellow member has said. If the religious institutions don't pay their taxes, where is the government going to get the excess expenditure to cater for our problems like the food shortage in Kenya? I'd also like to say that the religious institutions have things that are exempted from tax. Like, for example, the import duties are being exempted. If I decide to import a car right now, at 14 million, and I'll be taxed like 10% of what I've imported. And a father comes and imports the same car, and he's not paying for the tax. I personally cannot believe in what the father is saying, since he should be my role model. If he doesn't pay, I'll also decide not to pay for the tax. Thank you.
Second opposer, you have 3 minutes for cross-examination.
Here is Yvonne from Kithunguri Mixed Day School. Okay. I'll start by opposing the motion that says religious institutions should pay tax. And this is why, when we are imposed in taxation, most of our people there in the society who are relying in the help of this religious institution will turn into beggars, and others will turn into poor. For example, the religious institutions are used in making the money that they get in the churches. They use them to help the needy people by donating food for them. And for example, when the government impose taxes onto them, what do you think will happen unto them? They will just be there, start to be beggars, and they will be an emergence of poor classes in the society. Secondly, the religious institutions have no gaining places, have no places where they will rely on to getting funds from. That what am I trying to say? the religious institution always depend on the offering that you will get from the churches, and that what am I saying if I say that they are not liable? For example, having a fundraising, and they have called many people to take over. That's what I'm trying to say by saying that they don't rely on anywhere, they don't have anywhere to rely on, is that they are not sure if the people that they call to the fundraising will turn off, or if the offering that they usually get from the religious or the members of the religious institution will turn up. Not improvement in our structural development, and that's why I can say that the religious institution should not be imposed in paying taxes. Another point is that the government and the law that say that everyone has right to worship. That's why they say that every member in the country, he or she has the freedom to express, the freedom to worship. And that's why I can't see the reason on to why they are going to pay taxes.
The proposers have been asked, how will they benefit from the government if they start paying taxes? The opposers have been asked, how will the government raise money if they do not tax religious institutions, or rather, what are the alternatives that they're putting on the table for the government? Proposer number 3, you have 3 minutes to answer the question.
Proposing the motion, Glory Nkatha Chuka Girls. My fellow opposer here saying that by the religious institutions help the needy. Therefore, when they pay tax, they won't be able to benefit, and they won't be able to get the funds to be able to help the needy in the society. By saying this, we all know that helping the needy or helping others out there is out of will. It is out of your heart that you are helping the needy. It is out of the church will or the religious institutions, the Muslims, and all type of religious institutions to help those people that are needy. And my fellow proposer here told us about how the government should be given what belongs to them. It's a requirement as is seen by the law to pay the taxes. Therefore, it's not out of choice that they should. No, it is a requirement. It is the country. It will promote this equality. It is not out of choice that they do this. It's not out of the choice of choice that they have to pay. No, it is out of will that they help the needy. But paying this will help the government to get the funds to help the others, to reduce the tax that are charged to others who have to pay because simply the religious institutions don't pay these taxes. My fellow opposers also saying that there is no places that the religious institutions get the funds from. We all know that religious institutions, most of them, they have projects. They have developed the projects to help them in funding them. That is why they will use these funds in developing them. And they also have sponsors. These sponsors will fund them whenever they need the money. Therefore, the religious institutions, they have an access to funds. They also have shareholders. These shareholders contribute to these religious institutions when they need the funds in conducting any type of activity. That is why they should be charged. We are all students that we know. We benefit as individuals because the tax that is paid by people is used by the government to pay the 22,000 that the government pays for the public schools a year. Come to think of it like this. What if these religious institutions, we have 47 counties in our country. These 47 counties have different religious institutions in them. If all these religious institutions that are there pay the taxes, it will enable the government to pay us more school fees. That will help our parents. It will help other people. Therefore, I ask you to all join me in proposing that religious institutions should pay taxes. Thank you.
Third opposer, you have 3 minutes to respond to your question.
My friend here have asked, where will government get money if they don't touch the religion institution? But here I have the answer. You know, there are countries which are developed, and we have to follow their footsteps so that we can be like them and we can reach their levels. Look at United States of America. In the case that was there 2015, with this man, columnist Mark Lonella, asked whether the religions and non-profit making institution is it fair to pay those taxes, but the Supreme Court made it clear that no non-profit making institution and religion should not pay tax. And another thing, these religions, they don't have a concrete source of income, like the case in hospitals. In hospitals, we can count the probability of the next month gain of their profit. But let us look at the churches. It depends on the motives of people on that day. So this makes it clear that it is not fair to tax religion institution. Religion institution, again, have offered more to the community, more than tax, as in case of building orphanages and other institutions. So it will not be fair to tax those non-profit making institutions and religions. Another point is that these institutions, those institutions, if that, they are minimal what they get, the small amount they get, they will not help the poor in the society. So I'm Brian from Kithunguri, and I'm asking the proposers to join me to oppose this motion that says the religion institution should pay tax. Thank you.
Proposers, you have 1 minute to make a final statement.
First off, I want to say that, just as my opponent has stated, that non-profitable institutions should not pay taxes. But if we look at religious institutions, they own schools, hospitals, universities. They are not non-profitable institutions. They gain funds from shareholders and sponsors. So that does not classify them as non-profitable institutions. Simply put, I just want to say, it is totally and completely unfair for religious institutions to reap benefits from the government, whether fully realized or potential benefits, without paying the equal measure like everyone else. It is totally unfair for me to be asked to be overtaxed, to pay, to compensate for another person's benefits. Who here wants to be overtaxed? Is there anyone who can clearly raise their hands right now and tell me that they want to be overtaxed? Is there? Is there anyone who does not want to live a life of luxury? You can't get that if the overtaxation comes back to you. If the religious institutions are taxed according to the amount of money that they have, we can't be able to develop ourselves individually. Thank you.
Opposers, you have 1 minute for a final submission.
Do you know that of all the schools in our country, the Catholic Church in Kenya runs a total of 7,740 schools, representing that 1% of the total schools in our country. Now, is this not just justifiable that these religious institutions are contributing to the public good? Again, by taxing these institutions will make them meaningless, because what happens if you get to a church and then a priest or a sheikh asks you for money? Pay me money so that I can pay tax, and then I can offer help to you, the help that you need. Proposers have said that these institutions own schools or own hospitals. I would like to ask you, do they own them or do they sponsor them? Because where I come from, I've been sponsored by my church, the Presbyterian Church of East Africa. And therefore, I see that they are assisting me so that when I get education, I come and join that institution in helping others. Thank you.
We'll talk about Chuka girls. Margaret, I think you stand out as quite a courageous, a good debater. I like your command of language. You really have done a good job. Let's go to Clara. Clara, I found your arguments were quite well. However, you didn't take all your time. Actually, the time I thought you're getting better, it's like you're just nicked at your bud. You're just blossoming, then someone comes and plucks the flower. That's what you did to your motion, to your time. I think you should have taken more time with your motion. Glory, you quite did a good job. However, I thought maybe you should follow your role. Your role is to answer a question, the question. So maybe you'd like to, first of all, to start with answering the question, then you go to your motion and to your points. Kithunguri Day, being your first time here, I think you've done a good job. Kevin, you're very courageous. Being your first time, I find it quite courageous. You have a lot of courage. You're good. You have good numbers in terms of statistics. You have really tried. Ntinyari, you did a good job. I like what you did. You're very courageous also. Maybe in the group of boys, you stand out. I think that's good. And Brian, you also give good examples. Especially giving terminologies, like non-profit making or non-profit institutions. That is a term that I would say you gave a good terminology. Maybe as I finish, I would comment and say that language, just like music, is a learned skill which gets better with practice and gets worse with misuse or gets worse with disuse. So when you practice more, you become better at your language. All the best to both teams.
And now we get to the numbers. Chuka Girls High School, the judges awarded you 67%. Let's appreciate them. Kithunguri Mixed Secondary School, the judges awarded you 64%, making Chuka Girls the winner of the debate today. Let's appreciate both teams. Congratulations to both the schools for putting a good fight.
Remember, you can also be part of the Great Debaters Contest show by following the conversation across our social media platforms with the hashtag GDC for SDGs. Until next time, I have been your host, Chris Boru.
And I am Esperanza Kapanga. Catch you next time.